When people think about Colombia, it's often associated with the cocaine industry that plagued the country for so long. But there's been a new industry that's arguably the best thing to happen to Colombia since that civil war. And sure enough, that new industry is tourism. You see, Colombia is experiencing a new boom, one where violence has been removed from the equation, and the national parks are no longer being adulterated by mass farming of illegal crops and the fumigation of the jungle by the military forces to eliminate those said crops. So I decided to visit the lost city via a 4-day trek through the Sierra Nevada's thick jungle. Quickly becoming one of Colombia's most popular attractions, not only was it one of the most beautiful and rewarding hikes I've ever done, I was also able to discover an indigenous tribe whose culture is dedicated to a belief I've always felt extremely connected to, and that being the protection of Mother Nature. Alright, let me hit you with these facts. Built around 600 to 800 AD, the city was the craftsmanship of the Tairona people who were known for being exceptional goldsmiths, potters, and engineers, something that immediately caught the attention of the Spanish conquistadors when they arrived in the 15th century. A war lasted over 70 years, in which the Spanish tried to conquer the Tairona people, but due to their cunning abilities and superior knowledge of the land, they were able to successfully hold off the Spanish from complete conquest. However, the Tairona were no exception to foreign diseases and were nearly wiped out, forcing them to abandon the lost city around the 16th century. The city was relatively left untouched for over 300 years until the Guaqueros, modern-day tomb raiders, found the site in the early 1970s. Now, to say they came out like bandits with all the gold is a huge understatement. The site became the definition of the Wild West, until finally one of the Guaqueros alerted the government to help stop all the violence that came with finding such spoils. Thus began the restoration of the city and revealing a history that had been lost to the world for over 3 millenniums. Now, you may be asking yourself, wouldn't excess tourism compromise the integrity of the lost city and its indigenous people? Well, I asked myself that same question since I've seen firsthand what excess tourism can do to places like Yosemite, so I decided to ask our tour guide, Diego, this very question. Here's essentially what he told me. Right now, the locals are extremely happy with the prosperity tourism is bringing to their lands. The locals can now help transport and sell supplies to the traveling tourists, whereas before, they were risking their lives in what was once the epicenter of the cocaine and marijuana drug industry. All of this is beneficial to the environment because it eliminates the need to farm the illegal crops. Finally, tourism helps bring income to the families, so they don't need to deforest their land for agriculture just to be able to feed their families. So essentially, they're more focused on ensuring all the locals are getting a piece of the pie first, before they decide to start limiting the amount of tourism coming in. Rather a, we'll cross that bridge when we get there approach.